Hello, Laura. How are you?
Hello, good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm off camera because right after I get off this call, I'm driving off to go and grab my kids. So,
Oh,
uh,
I see.
yeah, but a pleasure to meet you, and glad that we managed to solve for the call scheduling. I still don't
Yes,
understand why it went and got a cancellation notice,
I
but
don't understand.
here we
That's really
are.
strange. Yeah, it's really strange. Oh, I would have loved to meet you at least and see you in person. But anyway, at least
You got
virtual.
you got my mug shot. You can look at online. So it's all
Okay.
good.
Well, do you mind if this is recorded?
Yeah, yeah, not a problem at all. I know you're writing a book and you wanted
Yeah,
someone's
no, yeah,
perspective, so interview away.
yeah. No, the reason why I also ask if you don't mind it's recorded because I produce a nice video that if you want, you can also use for yourself. But also I was gonna, with your permission, I could have attached it as an addendum to my book where people can go and listen to these recordings, and hear how employers are reading resumes and their impressions about interviews. So
Ah,
yeah,
okay.
that's why. So if you want, I'm more than happy to meet you again, like face to face. If you want, I
Wait.
don't
If I
mind.
say something useful, we can have a quick clip as a recording session in the next few weeks as well, and go
Yeah,
from there.
yeah.
So,
All
in the
right. Well,
meantime,
yeah.
how can I be of service? What are you wanting to kind of get my perspective on?
Well, your perspective on when you get a resume, where do you find yourself looking first? Where do your eyes land first in a
um,
resume?
gosh, I actually look for the cover letter before I look at the resume.
Oh, wow.
And if there's no
Interesting.
cover letter, I probably don't look at the resume. Uh,
Interesting.
yeah, and the reason for it is any, and maybe it has to do with just kind of my ethos or operations. Um, if you want to work at a company, it's not transactional. It's a multi-month or multi-year agreement.
Yeah.
And I would rather go and get an understanding of what have you gone and invested into understanding whether you even want to work at this company
Mm,
is a testament to whether I'm going to go and make the effort to figure out if I want to invest my time into having you succeed at the company. And
right.
that to me, I think is a catalyst. I think it's a practice that has really dropped off.
Yes.
I've also gone and seen a lot of just stock cover letters.
Yes.
And I'm just like, it's like in the end, it's a person hiring a person, not a
Mm,
corporation hiring a person. And I
right.
think we have some incorrect interpretations at society at large as to what this looks like.
I agree. I agree. That's interesting. A lot of people don't look at this at the cover letter. Some are happy with the summary at the beginning of a CV. So this is new to me to hear somebody in this project tell me that it's the cover letter. That's incredible and that's impressive. And I
Thank
think
you.
you have a really good point, because you really so if they have a really good cover letter,
Hmm.
that's like, what does this cover letter say that gives you this feeling to say, okay, I want to know more about this person. I'm going to call them.
Yeah, well, I think there's a couple of things that go in there. The jobs that we've posted at my company or in the previous companies where I've been responsible for hiring
Hmm.
have always really been um, directed by, um, did you read the instructions?
Hmm.
So it's to me, it's not even looking at resumes or cover letters. It's a looking at like how did the person interact with the position that is on the table.
Yes.
And that I think is something that is again something not sufficiently appreciated by people applying. I think there's a certain I don't know, etiquette's an interesting word these days. Um, there's etiquette and then there's courtesy, and I would rather
Yeah.
direct it towards courtesy rather than etiquette. And the reason what I mean is this is it's a human to human relationship. So, if we've got to put specific instructions, and the first thing I do is I don't even read the cover letter. I take a look at did they follow the instructions.
Wow.
And if
I
they
love
didn't follow
that.
the instructions, then why am I taking my time? Because you're going to be working in a company where your job is to see through on instructions.
Yeah.
And so I'm always kind of looking at signals of would I want to hire this person?
Right.
And if there's no cover letter, well, it's very unlikely because you definitely didn't follow the instruction because the first instruction was apply with a cover letter.
Ah, okay. I
The
see.
second instruction
Right.
usually has something to do with what is something that you found out about our organization or what we're doing that's different? And if I look at it in the era of AI, just the fact that you even took 20 seconds to go and put that in tells me you at least had some serious interest in being able to answer the question.
Yeah.
I prefer it if you've kind of gone and sourced it in your own words. But again,
Yes.
it goes back to, what are you trying to achieve, and go from there.
I love it. I love this perspective. While we're talking about, resumes coming into your company, do you want to say a few words about your company and what you do and what your business
Yeah,
activity is?
happy to. So
That'd be
I'm the
great.
founder. I'm the founder and CEO of Avasta. We are a company that is really a next generation in our solving for a lot of market issues. The biggest one that we solve for is understanding your customer base and how it buys. And we went
Okay.
and over years developed an approach that's been productized, called winnable addressable market. And we identify at any given point in time what share of the marketplace is interested in your value proposition and
Uh-huh.
is in a position to actually buy from your company.
Oh, I love it.
And by having that be available, you can determine whether you have permission to go and sell or serve in ways that you didn't know, because
Hmm.
your brand and your reputation is something that has kind of outgrown your original definition. And then separately, whether there's things that are impaired that you need to go and solve for. And
I love
then
it.
separately, we also go and take a look at the valuation potential of companies and help them understand how to benchmark themselves against their peers in the industry, whether it's to raise money or sell their organization to somebody else. And
Right.
then we combine the two in a very impartial due diligence offering, where we go and identify how much potential is there for a company in the hands or investments of somebody else. Because I look at it this way: if you're going to go and ask for $1 million from somebody, you're asking for $1 million from somebody.
Yeah.
You need to be able to demonstrate to them that you can do something with that $1 million,
Oh, yes.
and be able to go from there. So,
Oh, yes.
so that's kind of the basis of our work.
That is
And
so cool.
every client opportunity we've had, we've been very honored to add immense value to them.
Do you
Um,
focus on a particular industry? Like, because
yeah.
you're hitting my past a little bit. Because I used to be a venture capital wholesaler, so I would
Ah.
sell venture capital mutual funds, and the base was Canada a lot.
Mm-hmm.
We had portfolios that had lots of, lots of patents and engineering ideas in the
That's a
field
that's a
of
big that's a big
medical.
overlap. We're very in complex technology, B2B to business to business, business to business to consumer, usually where there's like a complex buying journey that
Mm-hmm.
that people have to go through, and that's where we
Right.
really really thrive. And also when there's
Amazing.
very weird constraints like venture capital exit
Yep.
timeframes or private equity ownership,
Yeah.
or artificial mergers. So those are all ways that we kind of bring value and go from there.
Oh, it's so fun. So how many are you in your organization?
So our core team is just under 10, but we have
Okay,
a set of industry partners, former clients, fractional folks that we utilize,
of
and
course.
we can stretch. So at one point, we ran a very aggressive, an active internship program that took us to over 20 people, and as we've kind of grown and automated, we've actually reduced the number of people that we need in the organization to deliver the same or more value to our clients.
That's amazing. That's
Thank
great.
you.
And so I'm sure you have some analysts as well, some
Yeah,
financial.
yes, we do. Yeah,
Of
we
course,
just
yes.
we like having smart people who know how to do their stuff
Yeah, yeah, you
efficiently.
need the number of people. That's awesome. That's so
Thank you.
interesting. So just let's dive in. I want to respect your time. Let's just quickly dive into interviews.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear any stories or anything you'd like to share to help job seekers be aware of what not to do in interviews, and maybe an example of that you found some interviews to being great, and just provide examples of those great interviews and why they were so great.
So I would say in job interviews, um, look, as somebody who has had job interviews, I've had a headhunter slash recruiter. Um, I think maybe I'll put it slightly differently, Laura, in how I look at it. Um, I would say you really need to understand of why are you also accepting the request for the interview with the company that is interested with you? And
Yeah.
I'll kind of give an example from my own past. Um, many years ago, when I didn't have gray hair, Um,
Well,
I
I wouldn't know. I would love to see.
you see it
I'm
on
just
my
teasing you,
mugshot.
but
You
go
see it on my
on.
mugshot. Um, the one of the things that was there is my headhunter for me at the time, gave me opportunities to essentially be like the country head for a company looking to expand into North America,
Mm,
or to go and be the CFO for a couple of different domestic companies. And I this is later on in my career, in the middle of my career, right, rather than at the very beginning. And in that situation, I declined even doing the interview for the CFO role.
okay.
And the reason for it is I knew that I was qualified, but I knew that I wouldn't have my heart in the role.
Yeah.
And I think what's very important, and this is a very difficult personal and existential question because some people are not in a position to say no before they even had an interview to certain things. But I
Yeah.
ultimately look at it this way. Interview only for the jobs that you would accept, even if a, call it, better offer came along the next day.
Exactly.
And I think that's a really, really critical part because ultimately it is your own personal integrity that is going to run you in your career. I understand and appreciate being in
Mm,
situations where you need to earn money. I've been there myself earlier in my career
mm.
where I would had to go and look at, what could I get as a job that would just pay the bills or pay for my tuition in university. But as much as possible, I was always looking for having jobs that were a reflection of who I was and how I wanted to operate.
I love
And I think it's difficult for people to relate to. It might not make sense in the moment, but I can promise you that over time, it is one of the most responsible things that a person can do for themselves.
Amen. That is incredibly true. That is so incredibly true. Every day I meet candidates where I see they're not enthusiastic. I always ask them, what prompted you to apply to this position? What motivated you? And right there, I mean, sometimes that's where I end the interview. If they're not motivated about it, or it's just another job,
Yeah.
it's not going to work out because they're going to be miserable. Even though they can act it out and they'll do perform well in the interview, it's not going
Mm-hmm.
to last. And it's not fair to my client and it's not fair to the employer, to not have somebody with heart into it,
Yeah.
just to grab whatever they can. So, and there are positions out there where they're made to grab if you need it to grab. There are positions where they're not career and people, it's expected that you won't stay very long,
Mm-hmm.
and that's
Mm-hmm.
okay in certain circumstances. That's interesting. Was there ever an interview that you remember that stood out for you where it just was horrible?
Well, I,
Do you
I see this horrible, and then there's ones where I would say the almost opposite, right?
Oh
So
yeah, of
one of the
course.
people that we went and hired in our company
Yeah,
on paper came in um, maybe less qualified than some of the other people that was there. But
right,
in the interview, they were extremely frank in terms of going and saying how that they knew where they were in their career
right,
and what they wanted to go and achieve and why they felt our type of organization would allow them to achieve it through their willingness to go and do what needed to be done.
right,
And I don't think enough people appreciate how important that is, that you go and do something that's alignment with your intersection of values and you're willing to go and do things that you may not know how to do in the moment, and be able to go from there. And I think
mhm,
that's something that I really kind of want to espouse to a lot of people to go and really invest in themselves is
yeah,
an understanding of like what's the work ethic that you want to be able to operate under.
right,
Another big one is like if you don't know how to do something, are you willing to go and learn for it, or are you being willing, or are you waiting to be told how to do it? And
exactly.
so that's another one that's there. And I think in terms of ones that I don't think have worked out very well from the perspective of the person that's there being interviewed, and I think this to me is kind of my feedback to people doing the interviewing. Don't expect people to be super polished in every single interview,
Hmm.
even though they're highly capable. Some people are introverted. Some people are
That's right.
terrified because they
Yeah.
haven't had the experience of many interviews. Mock
Yes.
interviews only give you so much of an advantage in the moment.
Yeah.
And I think what I kind of espouse is take a look at how can this person in front of me go and bring value? Because I know somebody who was just really awkward in the interview, had a hard time maintaining eye contact. They're bloody brilliant. I looked at the work that they'd gone and done. They'd fully followed instructions, but they just didn't have strong interpersonal skills. Did
Exactly.
they add value in our organization for years? Absolutely.
Absolutely. I
So
agree.
that's, I think,
Yep.
another aspect of it. And I would almost go and encourage people that have that struggle to be upfront when they start the interview, or even put it into the cover letter and go
Exactly.
and say, hey, listen, I'm generally an introverted person. I
Yes.
struggle with crowds. I work really well under ambiguity or clear instructions, but at times I just clam up in the moment. And that
Exactly.
openness and frankness is something I would encourage for anybody and everybody to really
Oh.
pursue as a person in day-to-day life.
Oh, we're on the same page. It's what I always tell candidates, especially when they tell me, okay, Laura, you got me the interview. I'm so nervous. And I'll tell them, listen, it's normal to be nervous, but when you get to the interview, if you're still nervous, tell them.
Mm-hmm.
When they say, nice to meet you, Laura. Oh, it's a pleasure to meet you too, Edgar. I'm so nervous to talk to you today because I'm just honored you gave me time for this role.
Yeah, yeah,
Now what
yeah.
happened is I'm smiling, you're smiling, the mood is humble,
Mm-hmm.
and you've calmed down a notch too. And the interviewer too sometimes is not great at interviewing people. I get employers many times calling me saying, Laura, you set me up with some candidates, but can I be honest? I don't know what to ask them, and I'm nervous as hell to meet them,
It's so
because
funny because you think you're the one who's at a disadvantage, and the interviewer might be at a disadvantage. And I think you're right.
exactly.
There are people who are uncomfortable at interviewing people as
Yes.
well. And I
Yes.
think this is why I always go
Yep.
back to it, be a human,
Yeah.
right? Like
Exactly.
be as human as you can. And I think follow that process and kind of how you interact with people.
Exactly.
I apologize, Laura. I have maybe 1 minute before I gotta head off.
No, this
Um,
has been
but
great.
if
This,
this has
no,
been
I think
valuable, I'm
you,
happy to schedule like a quick video session in the next few weeks at your
if
convenience.
you'd like. So look, I am going to be going away. I'm back at the desk around August 20th, 21st.
Perfect.
If you'd
That
like,
week is totally fine.
yeah, you
Yeah.
could go back to the same link on our chat if you'd like on LinkedIn and just book another session. That'd be great. I'd love to meet you and have more of a discussion.
I'm game. Happy to help you with what
Awesome.
you're going and building,
You're so
and who
sweet.
knows where mutual respect for each other's efforts
A hundred
takes us.
percent, 100%. I love this. Thank you so much. I
You're
appreciate
welcome.
it.
Thanks so
Enjoy the
much.
rest of your day.
Cheers. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.